Hi, my name is Lisa Tiffany. I'm here today with my friend and fellow yoga teacher, Raina Dominguez, and we're here today for part 3 of our series on breaking down Vinyasa. Talking today about Cobra and upward facing dog, Bhujangasana and Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. These poses are back bends, they're heart openers, and we do them in our practice since we sometimes kind of speed through and maybe don't use the cleanest alignment, and so we're not getting the most out of it. And in a society where we spend a lot of time driving and at a desk and on our laptop and texting, we're constantly letting the shoulders roll forward. And so we start to miss that broadening, and this can start to become even fixed as we move through life. And so taking advantage then of our yoga practice of flowing through and constantly getting that opening in the shoulders. So talking a little bit about alignment, we're going to move through Chaturanga first, which was part 2 of our series if you caught it. We're going to take just one Chaturanga to come down and then start from there. And so I'll have Raina find a plank first. She's taking the hands slightly wider than the shoulders are, fingers spread nice and wide, feet step back, tailbones lengthening towards the heels. Perfect. She'll rock forward on the toes, bend the elbows, and head to the shoulders will roll open as she lowers down to the belly to start today. So as she lands, head to the shoulders are already rolling open. Top of the head, or forehead rather, comes to the mat. And then she'll untuck the toes here, she already did it, so the tops of the feet are pressing down into the mat. A lot of times we find this and we tend to come more towards the big toe side. We have some natural external rotation in the legs, so the pinkies lift away from the mat. That can turn the glutes on and get you into the low back, which is not so great. So instead, we're going to think about the pinky toes, pinky toenails even, pressing down towards the mat, so we're pressing evenly through the feet. Her quadriceps are lifting up, so she's pressing enough through the feet about hips width apart, that kneecaps are kind of lifted just a little bit away from the mat. And then the inner thighs, the inside of your leg, is spinning up towards the ceiling, which again is going to help us get out of that external rotation and get more into a neutral place with the legs, with the hips. So inner thighs spinning up towards the ceiling. From here, tailbones lengthening towards the heels, so belly is lifting in, abdominals are engaged, our legs are strong here. This applies for our Cobra, for our upward facing dog. There's just going to be one little difference in up dog, and really any back bend that you take. And so forehead is at the mat. She landed beautifully from her Chaturanga, so head to the shoulders are already rolling open. But if this hasn't happened for you, if you land with the shoulders down, first start is let the shoulders lift up just a little towards the ears and then roll them open so that these bending elbows come closer towards one another. She's going to start to peel up, and as she peels up, head, neck, chest will start to lift and roll away from the mat. Different philosophies on Cobra. Some say lightweight in the hands, some say hands floating, some say you lift higher, keeping a bend in the elbows but coming higher. Anyone is fine. All these alignment principles still apply. Her back of her neck is nice and long, rather than letting the chin crank up and shortening here. I'd even prefer the gaze down almost a little bit and working more into the shoulders. Tops of the feet keep pressing down. She's going to take one inhale here. And at the exhale, bring it all the way back down. Good. Let the arms go long for a moment. Take a break for a sec. So we're going to look at kind of what sometimes can go wrong with Cobra. And a lot of times what happens is that we start with the chin. We come up with the chin. We get into the cervical spine, into the neck. We never really do anything at all with the shoulders. And so coming back into it, she'll come like she just landed in Chaturanga, so it'll be wrists under elbows. And we're going to take one where all she does is lift from the chin. Nothing's going to really happen with the shoulders at all. So just bringing the neck up. And even if she came a little higher, you can see nothing's actually really happening in the shoulders. Her heads of her shoulders are actually kind of rolling forward. All she's doing is cranking the neck and kind of looking up as far as she can. So one more time, bring the forehead down. Again, we want to initiate the shoulders. So with the forehead down, heads of the shoulders lift up towards the ears slightly and then roll open. And then that initiates peeling up, head, neck, chest, neck just staying in line with the spine. She'll bring it all the way back down again. Take a break, let the arms release down, take one cheek to the mat. With our upward facing dog, legs will really stay the same, except as we come up, we'll now be pressing through the tops of the feet so much that legs will actually hover. Here comes my dog. Murray, sit down. Sit down. So professional. So as we press through the tops of the feet, when we come up to the hands in a moment, she's going to press through the tops of the feet so much that legs will now hover. So only hands and only tops of the feet are pressing. But otherwise, the things we talked about with the legs, pressing a little more through the pinky toe side of the feet, inner thighs spinning up, tailbone lengthening down, it still applies. So pretending she came down from her chaturanga, she's going to press up so that now shoulders stack directly over her wrist. She's not going to lock in the elbows, they're going to be just a slight bend. Head to the shoulders are rolling open. And gaze here could be forward. If the gaze wants to lift, that's okay. It's the very last piece, though. It's not what's initiating the movement. Tops of the feet are pressing, legs are hovering, and then she can bring it back down to the belly again. Upward facing dog is a tricky one because we sometimes press too much, we get too far into the trapezius, or we don't press enough and we sink really low into the shoulders. So in a moment, I'm going to flip around and face towards you so you can sort of see where the difference is and how do we find that sweet spot in between. So imagining that she just came down from her chaturanga, she can flow through if she'd like. I'm going to have you first press too much so the trapezius really turn on. So if she presses up here and comes up, if she presses too much, press more. You'll see this kind of pop along the sides and the shoulders get locked into place. If she lets it sink and collapse, then we get cramped in the neck. There's no space around here and you see these pop up. So we want this sweet spot in between where there's enough buoyancy that the heads of the shoulders can continue to roll open. Good. Bring it on down. And then when you're ready, take it sideways one more time. One last little bit about this. If we're moving through chaturanga, as we discussed in the second series rather, that we rock forward on the toes, we lower down so that it's elbows ending up over wrist. When we come halfway, if we would pull through, if we would roll over the toes and pull through, you'd actually end up with the shoulders, she just untucked, you'd actually end up with the shoulders way past the wrist, which is really painful. It's not so great for the back. So come from plank. Reina's going to take chaturanga down about halfway. And when she does that, if you watch her toes, Marie, sit down. She'll untuck, and here's her upward facing dog. So that we can get the shoulders stacked right over the wrist. So taking that one more time if you can, because I'm pretty sure Marie was right in front of the camera. Watching her feet, she's going to rock forward on the toes, lowers halfway. Untuck, straight down, and now we've got a nice alignment with shoulders over wrist. From here, she can just curl the toes, lift the hips, or she can roll over the toes to take it back. Downward facing dog, either is fine. Go ahead and take the knees down to the mat. Child's pose if you need it. So bringing these into your practice using really clean alignment will really make a difference in the shoulder opening. And so every time you come down, you're finding a back bend. Cobra is always going to come from the belly. So you'd always take chaturanga down to the belly, and then find your cobra, that smaller lift. Upward facing dog could come from the belly, or it can come from that halfway point from kind of our true chaturanga dandasana. I think we're done. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. You can always find information about me at lisatiffany.com or on Instagram at lisartiffany. Reina, you can find on Instagram at slimyogini. And website coming very soon, and I'll have information about that as well. Thanks so much.